My name is Amol Arora. I'm the managing director of Shemrock and Shemford group of schools. We are the world's largest educationist-run school chain with over 625 schools across India, Nepal, and Bangladesh. Over the past 2 decades, we have helped hundreds of entrepreneurs, female entrepreneurs, and including housewives, set up successful schools all across the region. Today, I want to talk about the private school sector, the history of private school sector. How did the private school sector come into being? So what happened was the government set up the schools in the British time to set up schools for education of the children. But a few people thought that maybe the private school sector also has a role to play. And schools were set up mostly in the charitable mode in the 1940s, 50s, 60s. Over time, what happened was a lot of consumerism had happening. The Indian middle class evolved. So what happened was people suddenly had money and wanted a better education than what the government schools were paying. So increasingly, children started shifting from government schools to private schools. So anybody who could afford private school education was willing to pay for that because they realized it's a huge investment in their child's future. They realize that children going to government schools are not interested, the teachers don't show up, there is no accountability. Whereas in the private school sector, there is accountability, the children learn, especially English, and that sets them up for a better future. So increasingly, more and more parents started choosing private school sectors. Along the way, a lot of entrepreneurs thought there's a huge demand for private education, but there are no options for parents. So they started setting up private schools with an intention of now return on capital. Now, if that return on capital was decent, nobody would have a problem. But what happened was a lot of schools started taking advantage of that. So we hear things like a school asking parents to buy 5 sets of uniforms so that they could make more money. Schools tying up with publishers and forcing parents to buy books from a certain place. A lot of crooked people started entering the school sector and the higher education sector. I still remember this advertisement on WhatsApp which I saw for admission in BTech, and the advertisement says admission BTech and you get a free bike. The mileage of the bike is 88 kilometers per liter. Nowhere in the advertisement does it talk about what is a degree, what is a placement, what is the curriculum, what are the teachers, but you get a bike free. We see these images where parents are feeling fleeced by these private entrepreneurs who just open the school with one aim, just to make money. And not money legally, because schools are supposed to be a noble profession, charitable. We should be mature and realize that we are not going to be able to educate the whole country through charity. We have a humongous task. We need all the help we can. The private sector, the government sector, the social sector, religious institutions, everybody has to be there. We need everybody to invest and put in their best minds as well. The ROI as a country is going to be the highest in the school sector. So how should the governments behave? Now, right now what's happening is because of this attitude of schools to fleece parents, the immediate knee-jerk reaction of governments and the media is try to put a control, and they try and control the fee, they try and put controls, they say I will take over the school, and as a result there's a huge trust deficit amongst the parents and schools. So whereas right now the role of schools should be preparing kids for a very different future, not the industrial civilization of last century, but a very different future. But instead of that, what are parents worried about is how do I save myself? How do I save myself? So right now, parents, school owners and principals are becoming very vulnerable to the constant attacks from outside. Parents, with the trust deficit, parents are saying, we are paying you fees, you better give us return for that money. So right now, schools are going through a very difficult phase. So how do you bridge this trust deficit? How do we solve this now? So the problem is out there. If something goes wrong in the school gets to be blamed without being heard. So if something goes wrong in your school, you are guilty until proven innocent. That's how low we have reached in the school sector. How do we solve it? I would really hope that the government and as a society we become more mature and we allow more and more players, we allow for-profit models to come. It's a lesser evil if one person is making money, but parents have a choice. And with choice will come accountability, market forces, and if a lot of schools are competing for the same child, you can imagine the quality automatically will go up. If somebody is not giving a value for money, return on investment to the parents, they will cease to exist. We've seen it in airlines, where Air India today is becoming the airline of choice rather than government trying to shut down Indigo and the other airlines. Air India was asked to lift themselves up. And we've seen now people are flying Air India by choice. Similarly, I visualize a scenario where there's so many schools competing for the same child, for the same parent, and the government acts as a facilitator because the private schools tend to oversell themselves. So the role of the government should be an enabler to help parents make proper decisions about which school is good for them. And once that happens, truly our school system would improve. Otherwise, if it stays the way it is, we will become like dinosaurs. We could become extinct because already people are questioning what is the need to go to the school. If I can learn all my concepts on YouTube, sitting at home, why do I need to come to school now? So unless we all as a society become mature about it, we allow different models of schooling to come, let parents have option, let homeschooling also be an option. That stamp of class 12th should not be mandatory. Things will not improve. And it is happening already. As an employer, when I am interviewing candidates, I don't look at their marks, I don't look at their degrees. So right now also colleges, education, schools are becoming irrelevant slowly and slowly. And if we don't respond as institutions, we will become irrelevant. What is the need to go to the school? That's what people will ask us. I see schools changing from the current form into more of community centers where it will be about the human to human connection. Children will come to school and even adults will come to school, not for technology, not for learning, but for the human connect. So the reason I'm asking these questions, I'm saying these statements is that we need to be uncomfortable. We are all here, not for me, not for the government, not for the vote bank, but we're here for the children. And if we can keep all our decisions in mind, keeping the child at the center of everything, I think we can truly create a school system which will be fit for the 21st century. Otherwise, the road would be very bumpy ahead. Thank you so much. My name once again is Amol Arora. Do keep in touch with me through my social media on LinkedIn, on Facebook, on Twitter. I look forward to hearing your comments on the same. Thank you.